Hey guys, this is Paradox Etchin, and today we're doing a new series called Deck Tech for Dummies. I'm Devin.
I am Stealth Dragon Donzo.
And today we're going to talk about a most requested deck so far, Dragon, off of our Whatnot stream. So today we are going to start with the basics of a deck. The actual land base, also known as basics. So for a more budget-friendly build, you want to play roughly more basics than you do other lands, just because you're not trying to mana fix as often, because you are going to play cards like Kodama's Reach, Cultivate, Farseek, so that way you're able to get more lands out.
You also don't get hurt by Blood Moon as much. So.
Exactly.
So spicy tech right there.
For Dragon, I recommend 2 of each basic. That gives you a nice amount. It'll also give you 10 lands, so in case a Blood Moon does fall on your board, you're not really hurt by it.
You just shrug it off.
Yep.
You just look at them and laugh maniacally.
And then the next cards I would play are the 10 pain lands. So that'll give you a 20 land base where you have 10 lands that can alternate between colors.
Yeah.
After that, it's all up to what your choice of lands are going to be, like Command Tower, Reliquary Tower, World Tree, Exotic Orchard.
I do have to mention, though, we do tribal lands. The choose a creature type lands. You might want to run those. Unclaimed Territory and Secluded Courtyard.
Mm-hmm. Those allow your lands to tap for any color for just specific spells, like your dragon spells. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward for a basic land base. If you want to do upgrades to that, you can start getting fetch lands, which will take out the pain lands. And then you can get shock lands. But I recommend those for the later stages of your deck building strat. It all depends on where you want to go with the deck. Depends the power level of your group. If your group is able to get stuff out faster than you on a regular basis, then slowly get to fetches and shocks. I would recommend shocks first, just because of cards like 3 Visits, Skyshot Claim, Nature's Lore. You'll be able to grab a shock from the deck and have it come in untapped.
If you're doing shocks, start with the non-blue ones first. They will almost always be cheaper. And for our more older or higher power players, you already know what we're going to recommend. OG Duels. Again, non-blue first. You will have a much better time in terms of upping the price. And it hurts less when it gets stolen, because you're not like, oh, hey, I lost my $800 card and now I want to actually murder someone.
After that, we're going to talk about sorceries. There's a lot of sorceries you're able to play in Dragon. Sorceries such as ramp spells, Cultivate, Kodama's Reach.
Call to the Kindred?
Yeah, Call to the Kindred.
The Kindred Call.
There's also
Kindred Dominance?
Crux of Fate, Kindred Dominance. Those are board wipes. For Crux of Fate, you can say destroy all non-dragons, keeping all your dragons alive. Kindred Dominance, you save dragons, kill all non-dragons again. Yeah. So those are pretty much all the good ones. Other sorceries you can play would be some type of draw spells or some type of slow tutors. Let's see.
Diabolic. Grim.
That one's nice and cheap. There's Personal Tutor.
For the super spicy secret tech, and the fans of Kamigawa, there's a little tutor called Time of Need. It's a 2-drop, 1 in the green generic. Searches for any legendary. You're in Dragons, you're probably going to be running a bunch of legendaries. So that takes it to hand, and it's a 2-drop, so might want to consider that.
That's probably also going to be a very cheap card. Probably like what,
25 cents.
Yeah.
And it's never been reprinted because everybody forgets it exists.
Because it's a slow tutor, only for legendaries.
But it gets to your hand, and it's a 2-drop.
Instances, you're mostly going to be looking at counter spells.
And maybe a couple removal pieces here and there. Because as someone who plays Dragons, I cannot tell you the pain of getting hit by an Overwhelming Splendor. For all of you Curse players who know that, you know who you are, James. Always run something that gets rid of any permanent. So your Nature's Claims, your Abrupt Decays, your Assassin's Trophies, you need to get rid of those enchantments, because that hurts more than someone just being like, oh yeah, I counter your 9-mana spell. Oh no, I just counter your entire deck.
And you want to keep them on the smaller mana cost end of the spectrum, just so you're able to interact more with the table.
Yeah.
If your turn comes around and you have 6 mana, but your dragons cost like 7 to 10, you're not going to really do much. You can probably play like Mirari's Wake, which is going to be an excellent enchantment for the deck, and then you'll be able to interact with your opponents a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the good cheap counter spells are like Dovin's Veto, Counter Squall, Delay,
And offer you can't refuse.
My
My
Arcane
personal
Denial.
favorite, Counterflux.
Counterflux is good. Other removal spells are such like Anguish Unmaking,
Nature's Claim, Nature's Chant.
Yep.
Assassin's Trophy, Abrupt Decay, Drown and Block.
Pongify, Rapid Hybridization, Terminate, Swords to Plowshares, and Path to Exile.
Crossing Grip. For all your I need this not to happen needs, or I need this gone.
Mm-hmm. Trick Bind. I don't know if Trick Bind is going to be cheap. It's probably towards like the $5 range.
Yeah, which
I'm
isn't
gonna say around
expensive, but like.
But Trick Bind, if you do have Thassa players in your group and you need a way to stop Thassas, Trick Bind is a great card.
Or any of those types of abilities, just to like say, look at me and despair. Enchantments now?
Yeah, we're going to talk about enchantments.
Okay.
There's a lot of great enchantments for dragons. The best one being Dragon's Tempest.
Really? Not Lurking Predators?
Dragon's Tempest is a 2-drop that gives all creatures flying haste. And whenever a dragon enters, you get to deal X damage, where X is the number of dragons.
Lurking Predators, my guy just says, oh hey, you cast spell blue player? Oh hey, a dragon on battlefield.
Lurking Predators is great, but because of Dragon's Tempest, if you combine it with Lurking Predators, now you're just able to deal X damage every single turn whenever a spell is cast.
Fair enough. So, no Lurking Predators or Lurking Predators isn't the best enchantment in the deck?
No, just because, like, it's 6 mana,
Yes.
whereas 2 mana for a Dragon Tempest, you can have Dragon Tempest, Savage Vent Maul, then Lurking Predators.
Yeah.
Like, you're able to combo into it. It's just by itself, it can provide no value if you're hitting no creatures for a while.
But I mean, every blue player is just like, oh hey, me casting spells
Sure.
like I'm trying to like
True.
spin the wheel, and you're just over here just like
Free creatures.
die. Now it does have the issue of like, and I mentioned this in a previous episode, it has the overextension problem. Because you can't control it, if someone just is storming off and then they end it with a Cyclonic Rift, you just kind of look at the person and just like,
You suffer.
yeah, unless you have unless you draw into your omniscience, and then you just look at them just like, no, you suffer.
Other noteworthy enchantments would be like Monetary Siege.
Yes.
Monetary Siege, you name dragons. The dragons basically have War 2.
Also, any of the sieges pretty much, I think, except for the black one, because the green one,
Yeah.
get 2 mana.
Green
Red
one,
one,
2 mana.
all
Red
your
one.
flyings get haste.
Yes.
And the black one is something that is,
Lose 2 life, gain 2 life.
I think it's something irrelevant, but we don't care about the black one. You care about all the other ones.
Other noteworthy enchantments would be like Garruk's Uprising,
Rhythm of the
Wild, Tamir Ascendancy, anything that allows you to draw more cards.
Or say, my dragons can't be countered because these dragons are expensive, and in this economy, we can't afford to be wasting mana.
Unless you're using Mirari's Wake. Then you can afford as much mana as you want.
No, it's just because we have more mana than everybody else does not mean we can afford to spend to be wasting it. But now the actual meat of the video, creatures, because what creature deck would be complete without creatures? So what's your favorite creature in the deck theoretically?
Probably Belladros. If not Belladros, it's Miram.
That's extremely reasonable.
Belladros and Miram. Belladros just allows you to pay 10 life, untap 10 lands, and then make pests every single upkeep, so you're able to pay that 10 life again and again and again.
Oh, right, you can sack them and gain 3 life. I didn't even realize you did that.
Yep. And
if
then
I had to choose, mine is definitely Tiamat. Huge D&D player, huge dragon guy. Tiamat and Sign of the Ur Dragon, because I'm just like, oh hey, I like having dragons on field. And then do recommend Omnath Locus of All for that spicy tech, because he just draws you next. He essentially just says, oh hey, all your dragons cost 3 cheaper, and draws you an extra card on upkeep.
And then Miram, the Sentinel Worm, just being able to have a 6-drop, 6/6 flying ward 2
that gets you
more dragons. It's great.
It says double up, double up, double up.
There's a lot of dragons in this deck that you want to play. The most notable ones are probably going to be Scourge of Valkis,
That's a finisher.
Ramos Dragon Engine for more mana,
Not a finisher, but a good piece nonetheless.
Lathliss the Dragon Queen, Hellkite Charger for infinite combats,
yeah, a finisher.
Savage Ventmaul with Hellkite Charger for perfect infinite combats.
I was going to say semi-infinite. Perfect.
A Tarka World Render just for double strike. Blade Wing as a reanimator dragon.
Dragon Lord Colahan, although I think his name is... I'm just going to call him Cully, because his name is weird and that English is hard. So I'm going to call him Cully. Gives all your dragons haste at any time. If anybody's playing any one of those decks where they play a bunch of the same card, you just say, suffer, suffer, suffer.
A fun combo you can do with Karthus Tyrant of Jund is you play Maskwood Nexus, cast
You're evil.
the 5-drop Azorius spell. You exile target permanent and everyone gets a copy of it.
Fractured Identity?
Yes, Fractured Identity on the Maskwood Nexus. So everyone gets Maskwood Nexus.
Oh,
so turn all of their creatures into dragons, and you just drop the Karthus, and you take all their creatures, and they'll all have haste.
But how much mana is that in terms of like?
A lot.
Yeah.
9 plus 7,
At that point, just
16.
At that point, put Omniscience in the deck because you're not playing dragons anymore. Well, you're playing dragons, but you're playing combo, and it'll be much easier to tutor for those other pieces and get Omniscience in the field than to get each of them individually.
Now, some creatures that aren't dragons but are almost must-goes in the deck would be like Dragon Speaker Shaman,
Joda the Unifier,
Joda the Unifier, Dragon Lord Servant, Feyburl Elder, Incubation Druid, Bloom Tender, Noble and Ignoble Hierarch.
Ridaz of the Claw because he's a Vashino, but he doesn't turn into dragons. He lets you play dragons from graveyard, but
and also tapped to Mana Dork. Sanctum Weaver because you will be playing a lot of enchantments.
Yes.
These are just ways so you're able to speed up your gameplay ever so slightly.
And then you can also tailor this to like your various like tastes.
Mm-hmm.
I personally like to run a lot of like resilience in my deck, so a lot of I run Bladewing the Arisen to Neb the Harvester, but I also run Ancient, the Black Dragon from Baldur's Gate. I think it's Ancient Bronze Dragon that says, "Hey, roll a d20, get more dragons from your graveyard." Because I'm just like, put them in, put them in the bin.
Another great dragon you can play is Numots, the Devastator.
Oh no.
This is if you want to be spicy. It's a Jeskai dragon that says pay 2 and a red, and whenever it deals combat damage, destroy target land. So if you're able to do infinite combats, you're just able to blow up all their lands.
If you do this, you're a bad person. We're not condoning this. And I'm gonna be the voice of reason. Don't run that. If you want to get mana advantage, just run Goldspan or Old Nabo, like a normal, reasonable person.
But it's funny.
No, it's not funny. This is how you lose friends. You don't want to be like Milton, do you?
No, you lose friends because of Slimgar.
No, you lose friends because you destroy people's lands. You and I know this.
Yes. Other than that, there's some dragons from Dominaria United. What is this? Rift, Liberated, Primeval.
You can run Vindictus, Osmond, Dire. You can't really run any of the ones from Core 19 except Vivictus and maybe one of like Nicol Bolas, the Flip Bolas.
The Ravager.
Yeah. Run him.
He's a nice 3-drop you can play in the deck. Why is he a 3-drop with a dragon? Or dragon makes him a 3-drop.
Because I'm just like Tiamat. He's like, oh, he's a 4-drop. Because Tiamat's so good.
You can also play Renari. It gives all your dragon spells flash. Great card.
And Corlessa. Also, Realm Walker. Realm Walker, underrated card. Because it lets you play Flash at Flash speed and look at the top card of your library. So you get like Flash Dragons.
Now,
not like that though.
Now artifacts. There's a lot of cheap artifacts that you can be playing. Cheap as in money wise, cheap as in mana wise, not so much.
Well, I mean, they've been like reprinting a lot of the like really good.
Yeah, like there's those Incubator,
Herald's Horn.
Yeah, those ones are
Dragon's Horn. All the things.
Yeah.
There's also Pillar of Eternity, which does the same thing. It's like but it's a mana dork as well.
Yeah, your main mana rocks are probably going to be Soul Ring, Fellwar Stone,
Arcane Signet,
Thought Vessel, Arcane Signet, and probably Worn Power Stone if you're able to get it out early enough.
Don't run Worn Power Stone. Just you're better off running Wayfarer's Bauble or Armillary Sphere. You're better off running Armillary Sphere.
Or Moonsliver Key.
Yes.
Fist of the Suns is an amazing artifact. It's just another Joda.
Why didn't we mention Morophon, actually?
Morophon, because Morophon's not a dragon, but it's an honorary dragon.
No, he's a dragon. He's more of a dragon than Omnath, and we mentioned him. And we didn't even mention Joda the Unifier, who puts more dragons in the field than probably either commander of the commanders we mentioned. Sure. And he makes them bigger, too. He just is like, dragons, those my homies. I ride for my dragons, bro.
Fist of the Sun is great. It's an alternate casting cost. You can just play Wooburg, white, blue, black, red, green, and you get to cast any dragon you want for that much. Also ignores commander attacks, I believe, because it's alternate casting costs.
Well, it has to be from hand.
Is it from hand?
I thought it was from hand.
It's not from hand.
Oh. Okay, then if it's not from hand, then it might, because it's an alternate casting cost, I think you might have to pay, because I know for a fact the mutate cards, like Otrimi and Aluna, the
taxes added on afterwards, so you would pay the alternate cost plus the 2. Got it.
But I mean...
But Dragon for 5 is pretty good.
Yeah, and then he's still cheaper if you lose him again. He's still 7 as opposed to 9.
Other artifacts you're able to play are Chromatic Lantern, Chromatic Ori.
Which reminds me, we didn't mention World Tree. You play World Tree in this deck.
Yes.
You definitely play it. I understand that it might not be budget for everybody, but like if you're playing
budget now, it's only like $5.
Yeah, if you're playing Chromatic Lantern, you're playing
World Tree.
Yeah, and if you're playing Masquerade Nexus, you're playing World Tree. Because it just says, hey, all my dragons are field. Now.
Even if you don't have Masquerade Nexus on board, World Tree does get you Tiamat, because Tiamat's a dragon god.
So she gets you 7 dragons, regardless. It also makes all of your lands tap for any color if you have 6 or more lands, which you have green. You're doing that.
Crop Rotation's a good card.
Yeah.
Because
we don't feed Dockside in this house.
The best artifacts in this deck are probably going to be Quicksilver Amulet and Dragon's Arch. Yeah. They just allow you to cheat in dragons for 2 and 4 mana, respectively.
I feel like we're missing something, but like you'll let us know in the comments because it's YouTube. We understand the deal.
Other than that, there's just more like upgrade potential for the deck. It's just like get your fetches, get your shocks. You can eventually get like Timeless Lotus or the 2-headed Hellkite.
He's so funny. He's so derpy.
Worldly Tutor, Vampiric Tutor, Lightning Tutor. Finding a good mixture between too much tutors and not enough dragons is hard. My Dragon deck, I think, only plays 14 creatures, and 10 of them being dragons.
Dragon deck, and you only play 14? I at least play 27.
It's combo. Mine is combo. I go Tutor Miram, play Miram, win the game.
Even I do that, and I'm just over here like, I typically
play Tooth and Nail, Finale, Shared Summons. My deck is more tutored than anything else.
Mine is more dragons, and like dragon synergies, but I also do play a lot of omniscience effects because I'm not a terrible person, but like I really like saying, "Oh hey, I just play my hand now because you let me do stuff." So Tamio, the field researcher, because nobody ever swings at her because you have dragons and everybody's going to be like, oh, swing at the dragon play. Oh, you dare challenge me?
One MVP I do have for the deck is Dragon Lord Jamoka. Yeah. It's a Grand Abolisher, but it's a dragon. Yeah. So it's great.
Speaking of also Planeswalkers, Domri and Arc of Bolas. Your dragon spells can't be countered and he ramps you.
Sarkhan.
Planeswalker.
The Timir Sarkhan.
Sarkhan the Unbroken.
Yes. Fantastic ultimate if you're able to pull it off. But his +1 is also not that bad. It gives you a mana, and it also draws you a card.
Yeah, of any color. It's not like of his color, so he's pretty good. Then we're also going to recommend your basic, like some of your more powerful stuffs. Obviously, your Ristic Studies, your Necropotence, your
Great Henge if you want to play it. Udvara Hellkite, Teferi's Protection, Mana Crypt, Old Knobbone, Demonic Tutor, Sightgrave, Cavern of Souls, Ancient Copper Dragon, Ancient Silver Dragon.
The new dragon from Lord of the Rings is also pretty good from what I hear. That just says, oh hey, I see the artifact / enchantment or whatever player playing a lot of stuff. I play my Cavern Horde Dragon for 2. Swing at you, make a bunch of treasures, and then sack them because we don't feed Dockside in this house.
Hoarding Broodlord is a great dragon.
No, stop. No, that's not a dragon, that's a combo piece. You just say Hoarding Broodlord gets saw in half, win with whatever you want.
I was going to say, it's a dragon, but it's not like for a dragon deck. It's for a combo deck.
No, it's a dragon that just, like, It's good for him because he's a combo player,
Yes.
but like at the same time, it's sort of just like Horny Broodlord, get Horny Broodlord, Song Half, get your own. And
other enchantments that you can be playing. If you want to go more combat heavy deck, you can play Aggravated Assault with Nature's Will, because Nature's Will just got reprinted, so now you can get it for $2.
or Aggravated Assault with Savage Ventmaw, or Aggravated Assault with or Bear Umbra, and you just have 7 lands, or Aggravated Assault and Feast and Famine, which we probably should have mentioned at least one of the swords. So, honorary mention to Sword of Feast and Famine for your Dragon deck for all your ramping and making others suffer needs.
Also, if you have Crypto, right, to make all your mana dorks or all your stuff mana dorks, because Aggravated Assault doesn't care if they're attacking or not, it just untaps all creatures.
So why not then at that point just run Elven Course, because it's better. Even though it's like 2 mana more. No, 3 mana more, but it's like you get the ability to look at top part of your library. All of them have, I think, Vigilance as well, and they all tap for mana dorks.
Probably, I don't know. I
It
don't know
doesn't
all the cards of Magic.
Well, it came out of Lord of the Rings. You guys opened that set on the stream.
The only cards from Lord of the Rings I care about is the One Ring and Orcus Bowmaster.
But there's so many good
Everything
cards
else
in that
is
set.
not existent.
You're just like, I don't care. Doesn't exist.
Doesn't exist. But other than that, that's pretty much it for our Dragon deck. There's a lot of ways you're able to build it. There's a lot of ways to properly build it.
It doesn't even have to be an Urza.
You just want it to get slow.
Yeah. No.
The deck building process.
I was about to say, no, dragons you want to be like fast, hard, and in a hurry.
Yes.
Expeditious beatdowns are being handed out.
The deck building process, you want to take it slow. You want to figure out how you want to play the deck and then slowly build up to that point.
Or you...
Also depends on your play group. If your play group is playing high powered and you need to get there fast, then you need to build the deck slightly faster, which I know cannot be budget friendly.
I'm going to counter that and say, yes, you can build it budget friendly, you just have to be smart. Because there's a lot of weird tech and magic that people are just not accounting for. Like, you can just be like, oh, hey, I play this, and everyone's like, well, what does that do? Land grant. Hey, do you have any lands in hand? Reveal your hand. Nope. I get a free land. Put it into play. And that's a free spell. Once upon a time. Like, if you're, like, really innovative and pushing the deck to its limits, you can do a lot of really cool stuff that people just can't, like, really interact with. It's just you have to really take the time to actually research and like not necessarily net deck, but you have to be like a student of the game. And so we hoped with this, we gave you the tools to like start getting your feet wet because we know dragons are a super popular tribe and like dragons are cool. Like dragons are some of the best creatures in all of fiction. I mean, literally I introduced myself as Stealth Dragon Donzo. So, you know I love me some dragons, and I have a dragon deck. He has a dragon deck. Almost half the people at our store have a dragon deck, so... dragons are cool, regardless of other people's opinions on them. But yeah, so, like, just have fun, but also be willing to, like, experiment, because that's going to be the major thing. And so we hope that with this deck tech for dummies, we got you on the right path, so... if we ever play one of you in real life, you can sauce us with some whatever spicy tech you got going on and serve us like this is a ramen bar.
And there's any other decks you want us to talk about, put it in the comments below. We'll read the comments. We'll all vote to see which one will be the next one we talk about. Other than that, it's been great seeing you. There's a link in the description below. Like and subscribe. Peace.
See ya.